Good morning, Kansas City, and welcome to another edition of KCPS Homeroom. I am your host this morning for ELA Tuesday, Chris Odom. Today I'm talking with another of my prior students from many years ago, Corwin Albers. I put out a query out there on one of those social media sites, and some people wrote back to me and said they'd like to come in and talk. Corwin initially thought he wasn't going to be able to tell us his story because he wasn't creative writing anymore. And we talked, and I talked with him about how I think he still does an awful lot of writing from what he's shown me. And that what's exciting is that students who started a path in creative writing all have to have jobs, and they're not necessarily all going to be creative writers. I think they knew that. I think we knew that. But I think it was a really cool chance working with Corwin and everybody else throughout the years I did to really get a start in figuring out what your interests are and building a skill set that you may be surprised to use later. So we're going to talk to Corwin a little bit about that. In fact, I'm going to turn it right over to him, and he's going to give us a little update. What year did you graduate, Paseo, sir?
2005.
Wow, that's so neat. And it is not exactly just yesterday. So
No.
Tell us what's been going on with you in about the last 15 years.
Yeah. Pretty much right after high school, and I rolled right into college. Didn't take a year off or anything. I'm sure you see like a lot of people probably over the years, there's a lot of distractions that can happen in between that year off that you have that momentum from walking that stage. And then, you just get distracted with life. So, I decided kind of just is a life goal that I wasn't going to do that. So I pretty much graduated I think in May, and in the fall semester I was enrolled. I went to DeVry here in town. The location off of Red Bridge. It started out with the 4-year degree there. Ran into some funding issues. It was going all. I didn't have a ton of money going into it. Did a lot of federal student loans to bankroll that, and then a lot of stuff changed on that, probably for the better. Politicians decided that probably wasn't great to let people go endlessly in debt, into student loan debt in college, because a lot of people were getting a lot of degrees that didn't make a lot of sense. You weren't ever going to be able to pay those loans back. So they changed kind of the structure on that, like in I want to say like 2006, 2007 on that. But I actually finished in my 2-year degree there, which is fine. Spent a lot less money. Worked out for the best. Was able to parlay that pretty quickly into a job in the field. Actually ended up working at a school briefly. Worked at Genesis Promise Academy for about a year. Was a support technician / systems administrator for about a year there. Rolled from that to a company in town called NCM. They were car dealership company, still around on the plaza. With the systems administrator, help desk position with them for about 3 years. Rolled into another gig. Honeywell, was at the Honeywell location, the federal manufacturing facility. Was a systems administrator there for about 3-4 years. Then rolled that into my current gig, where I'm at now. Where I am started off as a systems engineer, a little bit more. Other jobs before were more network, Windows focused. This was more broad systems administration, infrastructure, cloud focus. Everything's, it sounds weird term now, but basically non-localized data centers. Go everything a cloud, usually hosted by some provider, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Azure, something like that. Did a lot of cloud administration with them. Still a strong Windows background. I actually just recently switched roles with them. Still with the company, still a technical role, and I'm a technical lead for our main endpoints. So more like the desktop endpoints people use, kind of the infrastructure behind the scenes on that and the management of that, and then lead a small team with that. It's the first time in a management role, so it's been a new kind of exciting piece. So still doing the technical portion of it, and then leading people to be better technicians themselves. So that's kind of in a nutshell where I'm at.
That's really good and well summarized. Well, took us through all your steps and jumps and moves, and that's really man, I think I'm searching for a word. Fortuitous. Like each step you took was for another reason or another beneficial goal. Like you kind of made good on the fact that you didn't even take a summer off, right? You just
Yeah, no, just keep that momentum. Like I never, yeah, it's kind of, she mentioned that, yeah, a lot of people I know, like even when I get a new job, like, switch positions, most people take their like vacation and,
yeah,
wait 2 or 3 weeks in between. Like, oh, if I'm starting at a place Monday, I'm usually walking out the door Friday. Like, not that I don't give my 2 weeks, I give my 2 weeks, but yeah, I usually just work up till I'm done and then just start the next gig over. Like, yeah, you lose
that's
a lot of steam.
fantastic. I was trying to remember what I would have guessed for you, back in school, and like so. But that's not from us to do. But we all probably do. Like, what would people go off and do? What did you guess you would go do?
Actually, funny. I was looking at back through some of my old stuff. You remember the Daily Journal? I don't know if you still do the Daily Journal or not.
Well, actually, I don't teach anymore. I work
You
with
don't?
no, I work with the whole district though. Like,
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, hey, you're moving up too. Yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm talking to all English teachers basically and helping them, and
awesome.
through them I get to still get exposed directly to students, but not as much as I used to. So it helps me remember. Gosh, that's the best part of all that we do, like as teachers, is the connections and the in classroom experiences. So you realize it is even more when they're different now. So yeah, I work a lot more, like you're saying,
We're
paperwork
leading them.
and things of
Yep.
that nature.
Yep.
But the passion's still in the paperwork,
It
right?
is. It is. No, I mean, there's somebody's got to do it, and hopefully, if the person doing it doesn't have the passion, it's going to show in everybody that has to read it
Sure,
and
for sure,
execute that plan. So it's probably good to
for
definitely
sure.
have your experience in there to help them make those plans.
So you were saying you were looking in your own journal that you still
The
have.
old Daily Journal, yeah, I don't remember. You probably don't, I don't even remember or not. Like it used to have us do it. It was the like kind of heads up assignment when you came in. It'd be on the board, it'd be a topic,
Right.
and one of them was like, like, oh, where do you kind of see yourself, like career path wise. God, it must have been, like 10th grade for me. I remember putting in it one time, just being kind of like snarky, like, hey, you remember how it was. Nobody's super excited to sit down and start working, when you come in,
Sure,
in the
sure.
hallways. But I remember putting in there like, oh, someday I'm just going to be, a guy just sitting in the basement somewhere resetting people's passwords. So, so pretty close, pretty close.
That's really cool. But no, I think the drive is evident, man. Like, super respect that. My parents dropped me off when I was 15 a half and eligible to get a job at the grocery store, and said, walk home.
Yeah. You
And
need that kick. You need that kick in the
we hope
pants, and sometimes,
and
yeah.
we hope you got it. And really, I'm the same way. I haven't let myself not be employed since, and that's a long time ago. And what I would encourage people to do, even at whatever it is, but just keep a toe in the revenue and the water and the stream and whatever. And so that's really cool. I'm proud of you, man. It seems like you really put a lot together that
Yeah.
still pays off. Like you can probably keep advancing yourself in this field too, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah, yeah. And kind of some of the other work I do, like about 3 4 years ago, I got involved with a organization that I volunteer with here in town, the Boys Learning Center. Always plug them. If I'm ever talking to anybody there, they do a lot of. They started off originally like a math tutoring facility for it's kind of like at risk youth, kind of like people that kind of need a little extra help, maybe with it, weren't getting it, potentially in the school districts, just for whatever reason, we didn't have a support system at home. But then they, years prior, another guy, Harrison May, who runs the technical program, he started the technical program for the boys. I got involved with him about 3 years ago coming on. So that's been a great for me to work on some stuff for them and maybe some other environments that I didn't get to work on, professionally.
Yeah.
Because every computer system, everything you touch is always going to be different. So that's I guess, piece of recommendation I'd always throw out there. Like, if you can't always find maybe the exact work you want to do, or for something you're interested in, if you have talents, you can go out there and you find places like that where you can go, and it just gives you another way to kind of exercise that muscle. It's I do some stuff Monday through Friday, and then I'll go on the weekends with them. I get to do other stuff, and I get to see other environments and other people and other problems, and yeah, just keep working at it.
Oh, well, that's really awesome, Corwin. Thanks for your inspiring story. I'm serious. It's really cool to hear you. And I don't mean to laugh, but I kind of did when you were telling me you're not a writer. Will you show them, share your screen for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of writing really looks like in your world these days?
Pull it up
And
here.
I'd say you're definitely a writer, man. Like, that's another language.
Yep, the language is actually PowerShell.
It's pretty cool. So that's considered coding then?
Yeah, this is type of it. So, like, yeah, you get too super nerdy. It's an object-oriented language called PowerShell.
Okay.
It essentially is a command line interface for .NET, which is basically what all Windows computers are ran on. So, like, this particular piece is connecting to a SharePoint site, and then searching. It's a function. So basically, you build a set of commands, and you basically tell it to do something. It's kind of like a workhorse.
Right.
Once you build a function, this is the actual function name here, and this tells the function how to actually behave. This is it, like connecting to SharePoint, basically calling in a portion of SharePoint, and then at the end of it, we invoke the function. You tell it, hey, where you're actually going to connect to in SharePoint to do the thing, and then what I'm specifically doing on this piece here, we're looking for a user, and we're looking to see what their preferred name attribute is in the schema inside the tenant in SharePoint. So, yeah, a lot of people think Windows work, and they think just desktop work, but Windows touches a lot of stuff, like SharePoint, SQL, Office, Exchange, Outlook,
I don't
a lot
know.
of stuff.
I don't know if you hear yourself being the non-writer that you say you are. All that language and vocabulary that's just pouring out of you. It's like, it's so awesome, man. That is definitely with you. Like, I don't know if you took that away from school or not, but I know it's there. So I'm excited to see you use it and how you can lead meetings and interact with people. And, even you could probably train people on these types of things. So
Yep.
I do think you have more language skill than you give yourself credit for, and you're calling yourself not a writer. So I appreciate you so much for being on here. And again, if you're wondering yourself, how do I be part of this show? This is KCPS Homeroom on ELA Tuesday on 38th the Spot. And I had the idea to start asking for students of the past and students of the present to come on and talk about things they may do or the path that they may be taking, and how they found it, so that other people could also see paths out there and feel like that there's some options and could stay inspired and excited about their futures. So every time I do one of these, Corwin, and you're no different, like, man, it's so fulfilling. I think teachers should probably make a point to do this. To be honest, I was so moved every time we did a new senior class that it was like ripping a part of you away, that it was hard to want to reach out. I did that for 16 senior classes, actually. So it was wild. And it's so fun to reunite a little bit and hear about everybody's success. So thanks for being on here.
Yeah, no problem.
If you want to tell a young person one final thing, what would you shout out to them on this ELA Tuesday morning?
I think, like everything you do, you just gotta find, what kind of work, whatever you're passionate about. It kind of comes off, old ad. I hear it a lot. Like, if you do what you love, you're not going to work a day in your life. Like, you're still going to work. I'm not going to say it's not going to be work, but the work is going to be a lot more fulfilling. I've definitely had different roles and different gigs. Not everything I did was IT. Going straight out of it, I worked at Best Buy, Geek Squad forever. It was like IT adjacent. While I was in college, like, it wasn't great all the time, but it got me that experience to get more skills and just keep building on it. So yeah, just find the things you're passionate on and just like lay the foundation, and then you're going to use that foundation to just build really the life that you're gonna live. So yeah, just make sure you're building that foundation about something you're passionate about. Oh, I think you're on mute this time.
I had to do at least once, right? Right. So thanks so much, Corwin. It's been wonderful. Look forward to hearing more from you. Have a great life.
Yeah.